Hi everyone, it's Lisette and welcome to my Proverbs home. I hope that you are doing great today. And today's video that I'm going to be sharing with you, I titled it The Hostess with the Mostess. And you may be wondering, okay, what do you mean by that? What I mean, are you one of those hosts that everything in your home is just beautified? You took really good time to take care of your home. Everything is, your knickknacks are in perfect place. Do you have that kind of friend if you're not one of those people? I know I have that kind of friend. I know that, yes, my home is clean and I have things kind of organized, but I do have quite few clutter stuff that I know that I can kind of reduce. And I have friends that I go to their home and it's just like everything is in their place, so perfectly done that I'm like, wow, I would really love to have my home look like that. But I don't. It's not who I am. And I enjoy my books and I enjoy certain things. So we all have those friends and we admire going to their home, right? We admire looking at what they have in their hutch. And when they show us their beautiful collections, it's just something to admire and to be happy for our friends. But what about those that truly do not have, that are truly struggling, that have just lost a spouse? Or maybe are going through a divorce, their spouse walked out on them. This is not every circumstance, but there are circumstances like that. Or maybe they're having some kind of problem that they're going through, some financial problem. How should we receive them into our home if we're one of those people that has a lot or has so many beautiful things or has our home perfect? What should we do when we invite them over? How should we receive them? How can we show them compassion? How can we show them the compassion of God without being braggy, without showing off? Because us women, let's face it, when people come over, we like to show them our collection. Tell them the stories behind that beautiful platter we have, right? We do like to do that, and that's great. And I love sharing when I go to a friend's house or they come over. We love to share, but there's times that we have to use wisdom. How do we treat a guest when they come over? Let's talk about meal planning. That was the first thing I thought of. When you are having people over, okay, especially someone that's just maybe they're going through a loss of a loved one, what kind of meal plan should you make when they come over? This is something to really take in. You might say, well, a meal is a meal. They're going to eat anyway. Not necessarily so. There may be someone that's going through something that they really don't have an appetite for something heavy, or maybe they're just not feeling good because they're hurting, and at that moment they're not feeling good. And I always think a great thing to do is to always discuss a meal plan with them before they come over. This is something that my former pastor from my church used to do. Him and his wife, before they invited anyone over, I remember they would call us on the phone and say, okay, what can you eat? When can you not eat? And that was such a great help, because sometimes when you go to someone's house and they may have, let's say, spaghetti with sauce. We all love spaghetti with sauce. And it's really not something that you can eat. You may have a problem. Maybe you have a very sensitive stomach at the moment. Always discussing a meal plan. And a great way to discuss that meal plan is to give 3 options. Give them 3 options, and from one of those options, they would tell you what's best. Sometimes when it comes to someone that suffered a loss, now it depends on the person. If it's your best friend, somebody you've known for years, you guys are really good friends, you're like family, that's different. Usually you already know, you feel more comfortable. I'm talking about if you're reaching out to someone you just met, somebody in your church, a friend in your neighborhood, just someone that you know, you may not be best friends with, but you get along, you have a good rapport with them. Sometimes having like a chicken salad with some crackers and fruit salad is perfect for a midday lunch. It really is. And if you're having a breakfast, maybe a couple of muffins with fruit, some tea or coffee is perfect. It doesn't put pressure on the person that's coming over, and they feel, okay, you went out your way to make this big meal, and I'm really right now, I'm hurting. I'm not really in the mood to eat, and they feel bad. So always discuss a meal plan before you invite someone over that's going through a major issue in their life, because usually those issues affect our eating. They really do. Now, there are people that can eat whatever, they don't care. But usually, even people that I have talked to, certain meals do affect them. and they cannot have it if they're going through something or they don't eat a lot. And it just shows them that, hey, and if they're not interested, they're like, no, don't worry about it. Just have something for them to drink and have some little muffins set on the side in case they do get hungry. And then you can just put it back away, for your family. Okay, what time of the day usually should you invite somebody over? I would say morning or afternoon. If there's someone that has just lost a spouse, or there's someone that is struggling, I think morning or afternoon is a great time. People are usually more apt to talk to you. They feel more comfortable. They don't feel like you're rushed to go to bed. The kids are home. You're after the children. Maybe when the children are in school, is the best time to invite them over. Say, hey, would you like to come over for a cup of tea? Would you like to have some coffee with me and some toast? It takes the pressure off that person that is struggling. Sometimes even inviting somebody over to a house full of people, they may feel really out of place. So we just got to be sensitive. We can still invite them, but if we see hesitation, we say, okay, you know what? How about a nice breakfast? Let's have a nice breakfast. Would you like to come over? And that make them feel really comfortable, and they can feel they can talk about anything without a lot of people being in the house. So having that alone time sometimes is really, really good. Should you start giving a tour of your home when someone has just lost someone, or their spouse walked out on them, or they're financially going through a lot of problems? Now, this is something I have seen. And I love when people come over, and I show them around. I have a small home. I mean, you jump from one place, you're in the other room, that's the way it is. So it's not like I have a lot of stuff to brag on or anything like that. But when people come over, I show my little dolls, or I show this and that, and they like it. But we need to be really sensitive. I am not saying that you should be ashamed of what you've worked hard for. And if your husband has blessed you, the both of you have worked hard to have your home, never be ashamed of that. I don't believe in that. I don't think you should feel guilty about that. But I'm talking about compassion. I'm talking about sensitivity towards somebody that has just suffered some kind of loss, or they're going through a problem. I think the worst thing to do to someone that's financially having a struggle is start taking them through your home, showing them all the stuff you have. I think, to me, that is just not having a heart of compassion. Now, if it's a best friend, they know you, you're comfortable with them, you know them really well. But if it's somebody that you're trying to minister to, somebody that you're bringing over your home, maybe simple is better. Maybe simple. Just feel out the waters, test the waters first. See where that person is at. If they just lost their home, or they're going through an eviction, or they're going through something, and they're having a really bad time, I think the worst thing we can start doing is just showing them all the nice things we have. I think we need to have that compassion, what we say to people, how we treat other women. Sometimes as women, we can be very catty, and it's our way, and what we like, the way we decorate our home. Well, everybody is not like us. We can share with one another and say, this is what I do, and I like to, make my bed like this, or that's great. But not to the point when we're being insensitive to someone else that is struggling, having a hard time. Look at the person and say, are you comfortable? I want you to be very comfortable. And then maybe on the second visit, third visit, show them your home. But to get there, as soon as they walk in your door, and they're having problems, they're struggling, and you start bragging on everything you have, it's not a wise choice. So I think we need to be a little bit more sensitive when we invite someone to our home. Don't immediately, the first day they're there, take them on a tour. Don't immediately do that, and unless they bring it up to you, and that it's okay with them, and they're okay with it, and they say, oh, you got a beautiful home, I would like to see the rest of your home. That's a great open door, and then you can show them your home. But on the first day, when someone comes over, they're having a struggle, they're suffering, they're sad, you don't do that. It doesn't really help anyone. And maybe the second or third visit, then you can say, hey, I know you've been here quite a few times. Have you seen the rest of my home? Or they ask to go to the bathroom. You can say, sure, let me show you. And then you can just let them know, one of these days when you come over again, I'll give you a tour of the home. That is a nice way to do it. But I think when someone walks in the door and right away we just start, oh, this, and let me show you this. And sometimes, they don't care. They just want to be there to be with you, to talk to you, to receive comfort. Just be sensitive to that. It's okay to show our home, but let's be sensitive to those that come in our home that at that moment what they really need is a hug, and what they really need is somebody to sit and talk to them and have a cup of coffee with them. Careful when you invite them over. You're not inviting them to pry information out of them, to find out what they're going through so you could tell everybody, or you could just have a good gossip. Make sure that they're the ones that open up the conversation to you, that you're not prying and prodding them and saying, oh yeah, so what's going on with him? You know, one thing I think it's really, really wrong to do is look at a friend that's having a problem in their marriage, and looking at them and say, you need to leave that man. He don't pick up his socks. You need to leave that man. I think we don't need to be saying that. I think if anything, we can give better advice than that. If we don't know what to tell them, we probably need to be quiet. I've just seen too many things like that, you know, and people that usually say that to a friend, or say, you know, they invite you into their home and then they start probing you and prying you to find out what's going on in your marriage, and then they start downing your spouse. I think those are not good friends, and if you're that person that's going through that, you shouldn't be visiting them. Okay, unless they have invited you, they're kind, and you want to share with them because you trust them. There's something to think about. Let them be the ones to open up to you. Let them say, I want to share this with you. And make sure it's appropriate. You know, there may be times you might have to look at someone and look at a friend you've invited over and say, I can't discuss that. Another thing we should never say, if you'll find someone else. Or don't worry, you know, you'll get over it in time. You lost a loved one, you'll get over it. Gotta bring you another husband. Those kind of things don't need to be said. We need to be careful with that. You know, at that moment, they don't want another husband. They want their husband back. They want that person they love that they lost back. They don't want to sit there and hear how they're going to get this back and that back. They just want somebody to hug them and tell them, I'm praying for you. I love you in the Lord, and I'm here for you if you need me. That's what they need to hear. They don't need to hear, oh, you know, you'll find another man, or God will bring you somebody else. Yes, maybe God will. But at that time when somebody's suffering loss, that's not the time. Sure that the visit, when they're coming in a home, is a visit where they feel comfortable, they feel loved, they don't feel pressured. And when they leave your home, they feel healing is beginning in their lives. We don't know what to say to someone. The best thing that you can say is, I'm sorry for your loss. I'll be praying. That's the best advice you can give someone. Sometimes we think we need to use all these words, and it's going in one ear, coming out the other, because they don't want to hear that. They just want to hear you saying, I'm here and I'm praying for you, even though I'm not going through what you're going through right now. We don't have to really go through what somebody else is going through to feel compassion. Another thing you don't want to say is, whatever you need help with, I'm here for you. Do not say that, because if they need $500 for rent and you don't have it, you've already offered it. Okay? Or, you know, we got to be very careful with our words. So the best way to confront that situation is just to look at them and say, do you have milk and eggs? Because you're making it specific for them. You're letting them know, okay, do you have milk and eggs? I can offer you milk and eggs. Or I have an extra gift card. Do you need some groceries? I have a couple of dollars for groceries. You know, say those kind of things. But when you open up yourself to say whatever you need help in, I'm here, and then they come ask you for something that you know you can't help them with, never do that when you invite someone over. Never do that. If you have something extra you can give them, maybe just offer it to them. Put it in a bag and just say, here, I got this for you. I hope it can help you. And just be wise in what you offer when someone comes in your home, where you're not putting yourself in a situation where you cannot. You cannot. Never get involved in somebody's marriage and say, oh yeah, let me talk to him or let me talk to her. Never, ever do that. If somebody is having a problem, I know we have our best friends, right? We have our girlfriends and our best friends that we could basically talk about anything. Okay, I'm talking about friendships and acquaintances that come over, that you're trying to minister to them, you're trying to talk to them, you're inviting them over because you want to show them some kindness because they just went through something that's been really hard on them. What should we do and what should we not do? Okay, here are some things that we can say. I'm praying for you. I want you to know I'm praying for you. And if there's something you need to discuss that you're really having trouble with, I have this number here, or you can talk to the pastor, or I know somebody that's in counseling. There's always ways to get around that. Never put your family and yourself in a situation that you don't need to be in. That's the best thing to do. Don't get involved. That's the best way to go. That's the best avenue to take. Have someone come over. Yes, show God's love. Show God's kindness. Show His mercy. Be kind. Make those meals that are simple. Ask them, what would be good for you? Give them those options. Don't start taking them on a complete tour around your house and showing them all your stuff that you have when they've just went through a loss. Most of all, the words of our mouth to the people that come visit us, that when they leave our home, they feel God's love and joy, and they feel like, wow, this was a nice visit. I can't wait to one day visit again. And most of all, if you really don't know the person at all, you've just met them, they're talking to you, meet at a restaurant, or meet at a diner, or a place where you could sit and you can talk and you don't feel obligated, and that person doesn't feel obligated to you. May God bless you. I hope you enjoy this video today. I hope it gave you some tips. I hope it helped you, because when people lose someone, whether it's divorce, whether it's death, whatever it may be, it's a very hard thing to go through. And we must use wisdom in how we handle the situation if it's meant for us to be involved. If it's not, we should pray for them, encourage them, and trust God with them. God bless you, everyone. Thank you for joining me today on this video. Hope you have a wonderful evening, and may God bless you.